So Madhavan, welcome to financialexpress.com. And here we meet again. The last time we spoke, it was just before the release of Rocketry. You were excited, anxious, and all of that. Now the film has opened so well. People are loving it. I personally loved it. How are you absorbing the love and appreciation?
You know, when it's your first film in many departments, you start wondering what you were thinking and what made you make the film. And, the insecurity set in very deeply before the release. But to see the people's reaction, especially to Mr. Nambi and after the release of the film, to see the kids idealize them, to see people wanting to say that my children want to become rocket scientists after looking at him, to see him being mobbed in the airport, it just looks like the film hit the right spots with everybody. And I'm very, very, very pleased with the outcome right now.
That's not all. Your 3 films are on top of the IMDb list. Rocketry, of course, 3 Idiots, and Nambi Effect. Tell us something about that. How does that feel? People are appreciating everything from you.
Well, to be considered as the top film to come out of India on IMDb at number 1 with Rocketry and number 2 with Nambi Effect and 3 Idiots on number 7. It just feels like the choice of subjects have been right. I mean, I've been kind that the people have liked the film, but more importantly, the critics as well. And it's a very rare situation where you have your film in the top 3 out of the 250. So I'm still taking it in, I guess. But everybody in Team Rocketry is completely excited to be on top of the list.
Of course, I mean, all for the right reasons. Maddie, you donned the hat of a director for the first time. You have written the film, you have produced it, and you have acted in it. I mean, a lot of was on stake. What kept you going and what made you believe in the project, in the film?
Look, I believe that there's a lot of goodness in this country. I've always believed that the niceness and the goodness of the country is the biggest strength. And we might have faltered at times. Nambi Narayanan bore the brunt of being, at the receiving end of some of those blunders that we've done. But, he continues to want to live in this country and do what is good for it. So, to tell his story became more than a passion. It became a mission for not just me, but I think everybody involved in the film. I think it started going beyond just the film, the money, the recognition. It just went on to become a national duty for all of us.
Yes.
And the overwhelming reaction that we got from people after seeing the film is, thank you, Madhavan, and sorry, Nambi sir, and I think that's one of the things we were going for. As a country, we don't want to repeat that kind of mistakes with, especially with people who are gems and who contribute to such a great extent for the development of the country and making it what it is today. So what kept me coming back, is just the whole desire to badly want to tell his story and go to whatever extent it required to get that story out to the country and to the world.
I mean, all thanks to you. This generation will also get to know about Mr. Nambi Narayan. And yeah, I mean, big thanks. I personally know, because we've spoken, that you have walked an extra mile to prepare for the role, to prepare for the character, be it changing the shape of your teeth, or, not using prosthetics, or dubbing the film in 3 different languages. You have walked gone an extra mile. What makes you do that? And this is not just one film. You put in these efforts for almost all your films.
No, this one was especially important because I didn't want a false note on any aspect of this film, because I didn't want anybody to think that we've contrived or misled them to think that anything about this film was a liberty that we took as a filmmaker. Everything was real. So you, as you would have seen the film, would have realized why it was so imperative for me to look like Nambi sir at the climax of the film. That would have been a shock. It could have been jarring. It could have been, it could have completely killed the film, because, I was taking the risk of having to do that at the very end. So if Nambi sir didn't perform, or if I didn't look like him, or if the changeover was dramatic and it broke the emotional continuance, then everything would have gone for a toss. So I couldn't afford to have wigs or put on padded weight, or have any of the other scientists also give out a sense of liberties that we've taken in the film. And that is why it became imperative for me to actually look completely like him as much as I possibly could. I'm sorry I'm shaking this, but as much as I possibly could. so that when the transition happened, the effect wasn't jarring. The emotional journey continued uninhibited and therefore have the impact of the climax.
Right. I mean, I cannot miss talking about Dhoka. I personally loved your performance in it, but the film didn't do that well when we talk about box office. How do you deal with that?
You know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah. You know, you give it your best shot. You make sure that. But in today's world, just considering what is happening to all the films, I'm really happy that Rocketry managed to run for 57 odd days, and so yeah, I guess you know, it'd been great if Dhoka ran as well. But it was a launch of a girl who I think is very talented, and whatever the outcome of the film, I think the industry has got another heroine.
True. But tell me something, does these box office numbers and failures bother you? Also, because you're an actor and you are one of the finest that we have in the country, do you get to know if the film is going to work, or if what is the outcome going to be?
That's a very profound question. Thank you for the compliment, though. But yeah, I think as actors, we need to slot the film and why we're doing it very carefully in the beginning, and that's only known to us as actors, right? So we hope against hope that sometimes our instincts are wrong and the film will do much better than we expected. But somewhere, I wish I wasn't burdened with the benefit of my experiences, because you become cynical over a period of time because you understand the fate a little more than what other people do, right? But having said that, I try my best to give it my very best for every bit of the film, and I'm hoping that every time when I don't get a comfortable feeling that I'm wrong, and yet other times I get the best of feeling and I'm wrong again. So, but more by and large, I think we slot the outcome of the film in our minds and we try to work against it.
Tell me something, because Rocketry opened quite well, even on OTT platforms, it's doing really well. But as an actor, as a director now and producer, what does box office mean to you? How important is it for you?
Box office is the most important, okay? It just puts everybody else's verdict to the side and only facts speak. So if people like the film, then the creator and the actor and the director and the producer have been proved right, bottom line. So to say that box office does not matter is just licking your wounds, I would think. So I'm telling you very clearly, for me, box office matters a lot. In fact, it is the first thing that matters, which means that a lot of people saw it over and over again. The critical reviews are, today, everybody has an agenda apparently while giving reviews. And there's every Tom, Dick and Harry out on the internet giving a review, and people are either watching it or not, or sometimes they're taking the review down. So the credibility of such reviews have become a little bit of a question. But I mean, box office outcome without doubt is the biggest and the most important factor.
Okay. Recently, because you can probably explain it very well, because you have worked in the South and also, in the Hindi cinema. Recently, we saw that films are not doing well, and it's not that South films are doing well. We just talk about a few. But what do you think are the reasons behind it? Why films are not able to, attract the audience?
I think we've spoken about it many times. The audience's tastes have basically changed. I think I have said this before. The pace of storytelling and the credibility of the research or character establishment is supposed to be very, very important. Let me explain what I'm saying. We're used to the fact that we need songs in our movies, okay? And we are, but there are certain type of movies that require a song. You can't take a song and put it in a film that it doesn't belong in simply because it's a Hindi film and simply because you want it as a marketing tool. So some films deserve to have a song because it's a must-see, it's a community viewing. People want to see that in the theater and want to dance with it, and it makes a lot of impact. But that does not be all and end all kind of get people into the theaters, because they are able to see other songs and singers who are way better. They're able to show them. So I think the mindset and the formulas that we've already got in our minds, that shackle needs to be broken, and broken quickly. The speed of the narrative has to improve. And even if I sound a little more radical in what I'm saying, we need far more educated filmmakers in the industry. We need people who understand science, who understand psychology, who understand enough research about doing a movie about politicians, which actually speak about the politicians as we know them today, or, police officers, or people who actually, the department, like if you see West Wing in the US, you realize that they've gone and researched with people who actually stayed in the White House for so long.
Right.
So our depiction of our soldiers, for instance, is also pretty dated. We don't sing on there's no time to sing on the border anymore. They're dealing with high intelligent terrorists and people who are trying to, attack this country. They need to be alert. I mean, I have heard stories that, are extraordinary. I wonder why we have never shown them in the movies, about how when they have to scramble, these soldiers have actually scrambled in their underwear and rifles. That's it. That's all the time they had to go. And we don't see scenes like that, but we need people who can do the right amount of research, who are not enamored by the romance of how storytelling happens or used to happen, and give us facts to the ever-changing audience and make yourself aspirational in front of that audience. Only then will they give you the time or their money. In today's times, I think getting your whole family into the theater, getting a car park, that musty bloody basement that you have to park in, and then run up because your children are seeing picture is going to start. So you tell them, "Aap jao, main aata hu." But the father is trying to park. He gets into the lift. You go onto the floor, and then you're hit by this overwhelming sense of popcorn. Earlier on, it was very simple. Yeah, life was very simple. You had only normal popcorn and samosa. Now you have all sorts of dish. They're walking into the movie while you're sitting there trying to see the movie. There are people asking for menus. Lights are being turned on. The poor film has to fight all this and grab the attention. And by the end of it, if it hasn't, the father is already thinking, "Mere ko jaldi jaake lift pakad ke niche jana hai, yaar. I have to take out the car. I have to make sure that I reach the place, and then on top of that, pay the bill, get out of the traffic." I mean, it's an ordeal.
Right.
It's not like what it is in the rest of the world. So for you to compel the people to come to the theaters on Friday, you better make them feel very, very special with your trailer and very, very aspirational with what you're saying.
But we recently saw on this World Cinema Day, because the ticket prices were lower, people went to see the film, and in huge number. Do you think ticket prices are also a factor that need to be?
I think it was an eye opener. I'm sure there's a lot of information hidden in that outcome. I don't know whether it's entirely the ticket prices itself, or the fact that it was such a small amount of money that you got to go. And for example, I saw some of the most spectacular sights when I went to the theater that day for Dhoka. There were people who are like probably couriers or people who are driving taxis and rickshaws, who had come with their entire family in a high-end theater, and they were taking videos of themselves standing in front of the posters, or taking videos and selfies of themselves watching a movie. They were feeling so privileged. So yeah, we need to make our audiences feel that privilege to come and enjoy. So maybe a 700 rupee. But that day everything was full, so it was very difficult to say what kind of people were coming. But I think ticket prices would probably encourage people to come in a lot more.
But that is also one section that needs to be focused on, because I mean, those are the people that have, to be honest, made actors a star.
Yeah.
So I mean,
no, of course. But the thing is, the category of theaters that is open for them. Look, I think more than that, our theaters are very few and far between compared to the rest of the countries in the world. I mean, if you compare the sheer amount of theaters in China with respect to India, we're not even a tenth. Yeah. So the accessibility of that film has to be, now, for example, it's a Bombay and Delhi are expensive cities. And one forgets that there are also B center and C center people living in Bombay. And they can't afford to go and see the movie in the theaters that are around in the metropolis, because it's so expensive. So yeah, so if you're able to get maybe smaller theaters, lesser, cheaper prices, but a lot more screens easily accessible, I think the overall revenue will go up.
Right. Also, we've been recently talking about pan-India films, and I call you the OG. You've been doing it since forever. What do you have to say about this pan-India trend? That okay, if an actor is a part of a pan-India film, it's huge, and
I think we're not. I think we're underutilizing our ability to make movies. Now, can you imagine a movie with Rajinikanth and Salman Khan and Amir and Hrithik, all in the same movie? Instead, that's the actual power of the Indian film industry, which said we are unfortunately segregated in our languages. So the revenues are also attributed to that language recoveries. But overall, as the Indian film industry, we were able to make a film like that, then we will actually know what an Indian film in all its sense is capable of earning. And so that becomes pan-Indian. In terms of technology, we are pan-Indian. We have cinematographers spanning all over from the very beginning. We have directors who are pan-Indian. We have producers, of course, who are pan-Indian. So why not actors as well? So, and at one point of time, remakes were exclusive to one language. For example, if a Tamil film released, you won't find many Hindi-going audience going to Tamil Nadu to see a film. It was a new subject for them and it came in Hindi. Now they're seeing it in Tamil while it's released on OTT. And then when you make a remake, you have to make sure that you're also making it for a section of the audience who've already seen the film. And to get them into the theaters, it's a big challenge. It's a huge challenge. So pan-India, though it sounds very romantic and lucrative, it's a very big challenge.
Right. I mean, another thing that I really want to, because we are talking about this, pan-India, if see the costs that a director, because you have done that, had a director or producer has to bear to bring big actors is huge. Their fees is huge. Do you think that is an area that can be worked on to do that, to bring pan-India films? No,
I mean, you're being paid a fee because obviously your film has been recovering a certain amount of money. And if it's not, then you're trying to jump the line, maybe. So I think the guys who's actually jumping the line and paying the extra money, he has to decide whether it is worth it or not. It's very unfair to tell everybody, oh, don't take the money, even though it's being put in front of you. And so what happens is everybody is thinking that there is business sense in it. For an actor, if we do a film, like if I've done 3 Idiots or I've done other films, we don't see a dime outside what is being paid to us as actors. And so, we have to maintain a lifestyle or still go into, the kind of confusion that happens when you're not making the kind of money that that is enough for you to upkeep your lifestyle. So if somebody is paying, the guy who's starting the business is the one who's supposed to think about the revenues.
Right.
So, you can't blame the Mercedes car for being expensive. It's been made expensive by the company. So what are you going to do?
I get that. Yes. My last third quick question would be, Madhavan, what's your take on remakes? Are you up for it? Do you support?
It's becoming very challenging. Okay. Like I said earlier on, I already answered that question. Earlier on, remakes were unique to the language that they're being remade in. But now everybody's seen Korean content and Tamil content and Telugu content and Turkish content. So you're making that remake so the whole purpose of making a remake is that, hey, let's make some quick money, or let's make some, easy setup money because it's already worked. This is going to work here. So it is not entirely a creative endeavor. It's a project put together, right? And it's gotten more and more tougher over the period of time. You realize that because audiences have seen it already before, and a large section of that audience, you have to really be sharp with how you present that. And for me, it doesn't work. For me, remakes have actually stopped working completely. I don't, as an actor, look forward to a remake at all. You get compared, and your outcome gets compared, and it is money. It's easier money than normal, but it's a lot of hard work.
My last quick question is, as I said, I've been saying this, you are one of the finest actors we have in the country. I want you to tell me, how do you look back at your beautiful journey? I mean, was there a time when people tried to put you down and tell you, Madhavan, you cannot do it, this is not your place?
Oh yeah, that. In fact, if anything else, those kind of lines encouraged me the most. I was looking at the people telling me that and thinking, my God, really? This guy's going to tell me I can't do it. And that kind of that has encouraged me more than anything else. Yes, there have been many times, there have been many times that I've been told that, you can't do it. You're too overexposed in television. You'll never become a film star. You're too Tamil a film star for you to make sense in Hindi. Or you've done so much of Hindi work to make yourself in Tamil. I've heard that all the time. And then after every break that I take, I'm written off in both the languages. Ki khatam ho gaya yaar, abhi to yaar break le liya before Sala Kadus. And people have been trying to instill the sense of insecurity that if you don't have a release every third month, then people will forget you. But none of that has ever happened. Obviously, the data that they're analyzing is not right. And it feels good to be around and still be the main lead after 20 years. I wish, of course, I was as successful as Shah Rukh or Salman or Hrithik. But in my own way, I think I've dug a nail and my claws in and will be in the industry for as long as I want.
Let me tell you, whatever film it is, I can bet my money on, and I know that your character is going to be outstanding.
You're
so
being very
that's something
kind.
I know.
Thank you so much.
My last question is, what's next?
So I'm very confused. I'm really, really confused. I have a few projects in hand that I have on the verge of closing. But what do I need to do next as a director or a storyteller? That is something that requires a lot of research. And I'm on the process right now. It's not going to be easy. So in the meanwhile, to keep the fires burning, I'll have 2 projects which I want to do. I'm excited about them a lot, but I won't be doing that as a director. I'd rather be just on the set as an actor and give my best.
Because the last time we spoke, you said, I am done with direction for now, and it will be more of acting. So is direction on board for us?
My mother looked at me and said, my God, I know you're a good actor and you're sincere, but you're a fantastic director and it'll be unfair if you don't tell stories.
True, she's right.
So, maa ki baat nahi tal payenge hum. And my wife thought as well. She said, you're a good director, Maddie. I don't know how the hell you managed it.
We all feel that.
Thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe if I find a subject that I want to do, I'll jump into it.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time. I can see you are, traveling and still you managed to do this. Thank you so much.
You're very, very kind. So lovely talking to you again.
Same here.